Hello everybody, my name is Debbie and makeup school is in session. Today we are going to have a little bit of fun and see what looks I did back in 88, 89 when I went to high school. You ready? Class is in session. Please take your seats. Let's go. So back in high school, I would just grab whatever foundation I felt was closest to my skin tone and I would leave the store. I had no idea. I also had no idea about brushes, so I used one of these little triangle sponge things to apply my foundation. Let's watch how I did that. So I will put some foundation directly onto the sponge. Then I would start going in, like I still do, get the four corners, and start blending. I had no idea about using any sort of a primer, or even any sort of moisturizers or anything underneath. I just went right in with my foundation and I blended it in as best I could. Never brought it down my chin, never brought it on my ears. Didn't have a clue about any of that. We didn't have YouTube back then. No, we didn't. So if you're my age, which is 50, you know what I'm talking about. Now these little sponges are typically meant for single use. I had no clue, so I would hold on to them for months and months at a time and just keep reusing and reusing and reusing. I had no clue. Then I knew nothing about contour, I knew nothing about bronzer, nothing about anything but blush. And I only knew about powder blush. So let's apply that. I would take my angled blush brush and the cheapest blush that I could find, because I was a teenager on a budget. And I would go in and I would just start applying. I had no idea what blush blindness was. Was it even a thing back then? Probably was, but I had no clue. So I would just go in and apply as liberally as I wanted to. At least I knew how to smile so I can get the blush on the apples of my cheeks. I also knew nothing about concealer. The next step was the eyes, and I would use one of these things because that's what it came in the package, with one of these applicators. And I always only wore a purple shadow. I knew nothing about prepping my eyes, so I would just go in with the purple straight on my lids. So I would apply, like I said, just the purple onto the mobile lid. I knew nothing about bringing it higher, anything like that. My fold on my eyelid was not as prominent when I was younger, so I did have more real estate on my eye. Then I did have some sort of an idea that there should be a darker color placed at the outer edge of the eye. So you can see that's a darker color. And I would just take it and bring it up on a slant like that. And that's how I would do my eyes. After I finished with my eyeshadow, I would go in with a black, the blackest of black, eye pencil. And I would draw a line on top, and I would draw a very thin line underneath to help keep the bottom line thin. I would take a Q-tip and just go over the eye like that to thin out that black eyeliner. So just like that. Then I would grab my eyelash curler and give my lashes a really good curl. Then I would apply any mascara from the drugstore to my lashes, top and bottom. Even back in 88 to 89, I always knew to reach for a waterproof mascara because of my eyes. I just thought it was the best mascara because I cry easily, and I felt if I was going on a date and going to a movie or whatever and I was going to get emotional, waterproof mascara was the way to go for me. Last but not least, I always wore a red lip. And this is pretty close to the color that I used to wear. It has a little bit of sparkle in it. Then I used to take a Kleenex, kiss off the excess, then I was ready to go to school or a date or wherever I was going. So that's the final look, and I hope that you had a great time with me in makeup school today. I had a great time taking my little stroll down memory lane, and until I see you all again next time for your next lesson, class is now dismissed. See you all again real soon. Bye for now.